Hailing frequencies open, and welcome to Star Trek Discoverage, the live podcast that boldly goes into excruciating detail about this week's episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm your host, Aaron Coker, a.k.a. Caliban, and depending on the nature of your business, clinically obscene is either a 1-star or a 5-star Yelp review. Joining me on the show, as usual, is my co-host. She's also the co-host of the Generations Geek podcast, a more or less family-friendly celebration of geekdom. It's Ella Pearson. Ella, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you.
Ella, I don't really need it, but I'm at that point where I just realized I have no idea where my phone is, and we're starting a show, a live show, so we're going to push on. Who needs a phone? Who needs a phone in the 7th week of 23 weeks of Trek?
Every time we start, I turn and I huck mine onto my bed.
Yeah.
So it can't distract me.
Where we're going, we don't need phones.
Incredibly good tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I hucked mine a little too far. Also joining us on the show tonight, she's also the host of the Sailor Noob podcast and the co-host of the Just Enough Trope podcast. She's a frequent Enterprising Individuals and Discoverage guest. Returning tonight, it's Mika and Hana. Mika, welcome back to Discoverage.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is great to have you back, and what I want to know is, how is it going on Sailor Noob? Not Sailor Moon, Sailor Noob.
It's good. Yeah. The second to last episode just came out, I think, last week of the first season. So the last episode of the first season of Sailor Moon, of Sailor Noob, I'm confusing myself, will be coming out this week. So that's exciting.
Making up is your business, and business is good.
Yes. It's really exciting.
If people aren't familiar,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I will. If people aren't familiar with Sailor Moon, maybe they don't know the structure of the show and the way that it's ostensibly a 200-episode series, but is broken down into sort of different sections that have their own titles.
Yes, there are 5 different seasons, and they all the seasons have their own names. And if you weren't a fan of Sailor Moon, I wouldn't expect you to know that.
But even if you're not a fan of Sailor Moon, this show might still interest you.
Oh, yeah, I think so. We talk a lot about Japanese culture on the show. We try to talk about something that is present in the episode. Sometimes we get a little creative with that. For example, one episode we talked about the Japanese economic bubble crisis and Ferris wheels. And and it's because
naturally.
Right. In that episode, Sailor Mercury, who's one of the Sailor Scouts, her power is water and
is fixing
bubbles.
Economies, fixing post-war economies,
fixing economies that are in terrible shambles, and they're fixed.
That's efficient.
And right, and then in that episode, her and the guy that she kind of has a crush on, there's a Ferris wheel in the episode, and I guess spoilers for a show that came out in the 90s. At the end of it, they actually ride on it and have kind of a sweet date. So,
nice.
But Ferris wheels were actually super popular to make in the 90s to build in the 90s in Japan. And they were always kind of trying to build the tallest Ferris wheel. And the next one is even taller and the next one is even taller. So
it's a wheel race.
Right.
I mean, I guess most races are wheel races, but you get my point.
Yes.
Well, if people want to check out the show, where can they go?
We are on Facebook at Sailor Noob and on Twitter and Instagram at noob_sailor.
All right. Well, it's great to have you back. Before we get started tonight, I wanted to talk really quick about a news item that came out recently. We all know that we're all waiting for a Star Trek 4 film, and there's been a lot of wrestling with stars and with directors and with scripts, trying to get to a point where we can do one of these things. I think the last best hope that we had was Noah Hawley, guy who is a TV producer and writer, had been rumored to be working on something. And then it was canceled after the Viacom-CBS merger, and we didn't know much about it, but he just did an interview with...
Are you going to tell me
Oh, I'm sorry.
what I think you're about to say?
Are you over-anticipating?
I'm going to lose it.
Well, don't lose it all the way. He just did an interview with Variety, I believe, and talked about how it's not 100% dead, mostly because the script was finished. They were all done. They had everything they needed. It was not going to star, Hemsworth or Pine or any of those Chris's. So they were ready to go forward on that. And they were getting to the point where they were ready to do design and sort of create the look of the show. And so he said that he's been told by, I can't remember her name, but the new lady that's in charge of Paramount Films, that it's in stasis. Now, this doesn't mean green light. This doesn't even really necessarily mean in development. But it's not that, they're trying to make Star Trek 4 and Star Trek films a priority at Paramount. And this is still on some burner, front, back, middle of the stove. Maybe it's in that drawer, the warming drawer on the bottom of the oven. But it still is extant.
I'm feeling a sense of relief because personally I think that would have been a bit much for me to that information would have been a bit much for me to handle.
That would have been the end of it. Yeah.
I would have been like, no.
So Ella is positive on that news. Mika, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's good. I like Noah Hawley as a creator. Legion is amazing. And I'd be interested to see what his take on a Trek film would look like. And from what I understand too, it's going to follow all new characters. So I think that's really interesting too.
Yeah, I think one of his remarks was to the effect of it's following new characters, but they'll have some side connection. At some point in the movie, we'll find out that there's some kind of connection to another crew or cast. But yeah, it'll focus mainly on those new characters. And I say, go for it. I say, why not? Let's get some new blood in there. We've done that with Discovery, Picard, now Lower Decks. People will show up for people who aren't Chris Pine, or what have you. That's my theory.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will.
LOL, for sure. We all will.
We knew that, though.
Well, we've just seen the 7th episode of the new series Lower Decks. It's an episode called Much Ado About Boimler, and we're here to talk about it. But first, as always, a warning. We're setting a course for the spoiler zone, listeners, so be warned. We're glad you've decided to join us, but if you haven't seen the episode, spoilers are incoming. The official synopsis for Much Ado About Boimler is, Mariner tries to impress her best friend from Starfleet Academy, who is now a visiting captain. Boimler is sent to a Starfleet medical ship after a transporter accident puts him out of phase. The episode was written by M. Willis. I don't have any more information than that. And it was directed by Barry J. Kelly. The stardate for the episode is 57752.6. And there are a few interesting aspects to this episode. This is the 12th episode or film in the franchise that features the name of a character played by, the regular cast in its title. So not counting Khan, I guess. Do we want to pick? We can't do all 12, but do we want to pick one?
Data's Day.
Data's Day. You got it. Ella, what was yours?
Wait, am I supposed to make a new one?
Yeah.
Oh, make a new one. Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry,
No, you can make a new one. Okay. I love how this bit is evolving. Mostly in length.
Troy's Desserts. I don't know. I'm just I just want to create an social media account that's just memes of Troy eating dessert.
Oh, it must exist, but I'd love to hear your take on it though. And mine is Riker's Rug. So another fact from the episode is that this is the first episode to feature the space vessel life form since the species' introduction in Encounter at Farpoint. That's the big, jellyfish alien with the little, I bring you peace, the little tentacles that it's got. I wonder why they didn't use that again after Farpoint. Such a cool alien. And it's also the first appearance of an Adosian since the animated episode, The Counterclock Incident. Of course, the last episode of the animated series.
Very nice.
These are the three-armed guys.
Oh, okay, gotcha. The what is it called again? Why I like tried to remember as I was watching the episode, and I don't know why. It was the 14th division of 14. I can't remember.
Division 14.
Why is that hard for me to remember?
Pier 41. Yeah. Yeah,
I think I'm just getting old.
I think it's because it's just a number. It's kind of nondescript, and it's just a number.
Yeah, but Section 31, I remember.
Yeah, but you've heard that over and over and over again.
Yes.
This is the new Section 31. You're never going to forget this one. Some of the guest stars in the episode, and I do go in and I try to figure out who does all the voices in the episode, but sometimes the people on Memory Alpha aren't paying attention, and I don't know who does IMDb these days. Is IMDb falling off because they don't have all the information that you'd want? But I did my best. The Tox Olagundoye plays Captain Ramsey in this episode. She is also on Castle. She had a recurring role on Castle. And she played Jackie Joyner Kersey on the ABC sitcom The Neighbors. What is The Neighbors about? Why is Jackie Joyner Kersey on The Neighbors?
I got nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, couldn't tell you.
That's not good
Never
for ABC. I think it might be about aliens, but I'm not sure how you can have Dick Butkus and Jackie Joyner Kersey on there, but as recurring roles. But whatever. And then Maurice LaMarche voices Drew Patchett. I believe Drew Patchett is the Rigelian character that we see in the episode. LaMarche is a very famous, insofar as you can be famous being a voice actor. He is the voice of the Brain from Pinky and the Brain, and he is the go-to guy in Hollywood for Orson Welles impersonations.
Did he do
yes.
Orson Welles' voice in Ed Wood?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Poor Vincent D'Onofrio. Yeah.
Yes. I got something. All right, cool.
Frozen peas. Yes. What did you guys think about Much Ado About Boimler? Mika, what'd you think?
I thought there were some parts of it that I liked. I like the idea of like Division 14. And I don't know, I kind of liked the idea of them being stuck on this ship and it being horrible, but it was, I don't know, it was kind of a pleasant surprise that it, like, no, the farm is a real place and you realize actually be pampered.
Yeah.
I don't know how funny it necessarily is.
One guy's been on there so long, he's wearing like the DS9 uniforms or whatever, or the Voyager uniform, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that.
And he's Benjamin Buttoning, at least like half and half.
Oh, so yeah, that was interesting.
They got to hurry. They got to get that guy to the farm. Apparently he's been there for a long time.
I liked the idea of the dog and that Tendi has like, she just kind of has an idea of what dogs look like, but she doesn't really know. And then like when she meets a real dog at the end and they lick her, she's like, what? So that was fun. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll come back to dogs. Let's get Ella's opinion. Ella, what'd you think about the episode?
I think it might be my favorite one yet.
Yeah, really?
I was laughing. Yeah, I was laughing really hard. Like the bit when the dog is walking past and then it just turns into a cube.
Right.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't know why. It really got me.
I don't like, and so I was trying to kind of figure out what she did. Like because this show is often more Rick and Morty than it is Star Trek. I think if like Data just disappeared into a lab and came out with like, oh, I made a dog. It's okay. But she like just cooked it up from like original DNA, I guess, right?
I think so.
Or she modified the DNA. She rearranged the mitochondria. Yeah. My thing about both the skipping ahead a little bit. My thing about both the ship, which is the farm ship, which is like a source of conflict for Boimler, and then also the dog story, is that they both, like, I don't want to say fizzle, but fizzle. They both present like threat, and then we get to the end of it, and they were never really like a big deal. Like the dog can walk on its hind legs and talk, and they really were going to a nice farm upstate where you can run with half-naked women and get Mai Tais and stuff like that. And it puts me in the mind of the idea of a Shaggy Dog story, which is like when you've got like a story that, just continues to build and it adds all these extraneous details, and then at the end it's like, that dog's not so shaggy. It's like an anticlimax. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that can be employed to funny ends. But I don't know. I wasn't quite as sold as Ella was. Like when I found out that the whole ship was like, oh no, he was good the whole time. Sure, he yelled at everybody and he was pointing phasers at them and stuff like that. And also he dresses like a Star Wars villain. But no, everything is fine.
Right.
They just get to
yes.
have tropical drinks. Like for me, it was like, okay. And then the dog thing was, the whole thing is that like she just doesn't know what a dog is like. How did she put a dog together if she doesn't know what a dog does?
I know that.
I know. Yeah, that's
okay,
kind
this
of
is
the
totally
thing, right?
this totally works on Ella. Okay.
I know. I think that was the part that was supposed to be funny. I think the joke was that Tendi doesn't know what a dog is, but the part that made me laugh was when the dog would do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like the cube, I don't know why the cube, or when it stood up, I was like, that's terrifying and also the funniest thing I've ever seen.
But yeah, and then it just kind of flies away at the end.
What? And then like Tendy's like, you were a freak. I know. I just didn't know what you were.
That was a little funny.
I was a little uncomfortable with labeling all these guys freaks. I mean, it's just a cartoon
point.
show. And there's a
Yeah.
guy who is just a giant head. Like, I mean, it's just, I know that it's just for fun, but like, I was uncomfortable. It's like I said, it turned out okay. But during the episode, I was a little creeped out that Starfleet just dumps all their failed experiments and people who have been injured or changed in the dispensing of their duties onto this weird ship.
They gotta go somewhere.
Yeah, It's
Yeah,
a
I
little
guess so. I guess so. I was trying to
All
catch.
those Pike wheelchair dudes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like,
Yeah.
what was going on that happened multiple times?
Well,
3 times.
I know.
you guys are keeping it positive, so I'm going to continue to keep probing at this. But if this show is really canon, then like, why not get rid of the memberberry reference stuff and like actually like do stuff? So like I want a returning character who is clearly one of the transformed salamanders. You know, this guy he went over warp 10. We told him not to.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but instead it's just like a visual, reference, or like having a Pike chairperson. Yeah, we got it. Like, why not have like people from TNG, because this show loves TNG so much. Like, have people from TNG who found themselves, have a Enterprise crew member whose head turned into a fly when they were all devolving or something like that. I don't know how you communicate that's who he is, but yeah, the visual gags are. I can only get so much out of the visual gags. I did like the guy with the duck face though. It didn't make any sense. Guy's just got a duck face.
They are cowards for not putting in the salamander people, I will say.
Right, yeah.
And I'll say it to their faces.
Yeah, I have the TNG lady who fell through the floor, and so she's got like a piece of floor through her, but she can only hold her arm up.
Yeah.
Or maybe like Captain Decker. Remember him? Maybe Captain Decker and Ilya broke up, and so now he's got to get he's got to get unmachine intelligenced. But he's all depressed and he's drinking motor oil a little too much. Doesn't really matter. I did like the bit though where the transporter accident couple and they're like, we have 2 of everything, almost everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's funny or not, but I laughed at it.
I think it's funny.
That's how I feel almost every time I laugh at Lowered Somnos, like the thing with the dog turning into the cube. I burst out laughing, and I was like, I couldn't tell you why.
Sometimes
I
it doesn't.
think it was that it kept rolling.
Yeah, it kept sort of
Around
going.
the corner.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't matter. Yeah. What did you guys think of? Speaking of TNG, this is like they just basically took the initial pitch of Chain of Command and put it into this episode, and then also like name checked Jellicoe in the episode as well. And for me, it was like that was the reference too far. It's an episode like I liked when they're training in the ninja suits like Picard and Bev and Worf were. And apparently their mission is super low stakes. They have to I never really understood what the mission was. They got to plant some seeds or something like that.
Apparently.
Yes, top secret.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're doing like commando training to plant these seeds. And so they're going to have a substitute captain come on, and it's immediately like, okay, we're all going to be in the mind of like Captain Jellicoe, but you guys are going to do something different though. And it's almost like they're afraid that we won't get what they're doing, and so she's like, I don't want a babysitter Jellicoe type. It's like, yeah, no. Look, we're following you. We get it.
Yeah,
but
I do think, I feel like every week I'm like, the references, it's a lot.
like, maybe we don't need so many. Like, maybe put them all in and then like take out 3 or something.
Look in the mirror,
Yes.
spin around.
Yeah,
and whatever references
Just
get
like
your notice.
Coco Chanel.
Exactly.
You take, what is it? You take one accessory off before you
Right.
leave.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
This show couldn't handle a Jellicoe.
Why am I picturing Tom Cruise saying?
Right. You know, that's I like that idea. You know, Ronnie Cox is he's up there, but he's still around. You bring Ronnie Cox on, and he plays Jellicoe, but he's the sub that the class breaks. Right? He's going to come on. He tells Mariner to shape up. He tells the cat to put a uniform on or whatever. But then just the wackiness of the wackiest ship in the Starfleet Army here, it breaks him eventually. I don't know why I do this in other shows too. I'm always pitching stuff.
I think that could be cool. Yeah. Don't totally.
Well, anyway, that didn't happen. We got a different captain instead. What'd you guys think of Captain Ramsey?
I liked her. I thought she was kind of sassy, but like, took her job seriously and everything. I also liked. I guess I have a question kind of regarding her and like Mariner and how they were interacting with each other. She seemed to like yeah, okay. Well, she seemed to like suggest that maybe Mariner was trying to ruin her chance of being her first officer, like on purpose. But it didn't seem like to me, like it seemed like Mariner was concerned and like maybe she didn't want to like leave, the Cerritos, but it didn't seem like she was doing all these mistakes on purpose. Do you guys think she was doing them on purpose?
Well, I guess according to canon, like what she says in the episode, she was.
Yeah.
But for me, that was another Shaggy Dog thing where they've got a setup that it's doing one thing, and then it turns out it's something else. And I don't know, like you see that in other shows, where the character has a motivation or something that they don't want to share until the right time and the right point. But yeah, I thought they could have attacked it in a slightly different way. Because yeah, I mean, like the whole time I'm just like, wait, why is Mariner like suck all of a sudden? Like she's always been like
right.
the ultimate space hero. So
that's what I was wondering too. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I did that, but like it didn't seem like it was like a conscious choice from her to mess everything up. At least it didn't seem like they were telegraphing that.
Well, we know from a previous episode
they absolutely weren't. Yeah.
We know from a previous episode that she can pretend to be incompetent to help her friends. So,
right, that's true.
Yeah, I guess I kind of thought that she was like at first, like before we got to the end, I was like, oh, she's just like nervous or something. But then like
what I thought too.
The tricorder thing, I was like, that's a pretty like that. I was like, that's really weird. That's a pretty like basic mistake for her. Like that is not a mistake that I could see Mariner making, even if she was nervous to like leave the tricorders on the ship.
Yeah.
So then when they were like, oh, you were throwing it, I was like, that makes sense for the tricorder. Like I was like, oh, okay.
I like gravity boot humor, but like 2 episodes in a row in a 10-episode show, that's too much gravity boot humor.
Last episode it was cute gravity humor, and this episode it was like secondhand embarrassment gravity humor.
Right, there's cute and there's cringe. Yeah. I did really like the idea of her coming on, the Captain Ramsey, and offering. It's sort of like this is kind of a best of both worlds, like Riker's story, right? Like she comes on and she's like, I'll make you first officer. Come with me. We'll have fun. And she doesn't want to leave. But it's like a super low stakes version of that, because it's not like she's leaving, the flagship of the Enterprise and she's the first officer. She's just an ensign who we learn should be much higher in rank by now if her friend is a captain.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how old all
Right.
these people are. So it's like they're kind of repeating that beat, but the core of it is what's Mariner's trying to figure stuff out, and I don't get what she's trying to figure out. Do you think that we're going to get more? We're going to get some like deeper look into her personality or something that happened specifically, or because there's like this just I'm still figuring it out. I don't know if I buy that.
Well, she's gonna have to have like a come to Jesus moment with her mom at some point, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I would think so. I think something must have happened because I don't think that I get the sense that she wasn't always afraid of the idea of going up in the ranks. I feel like something happened to her and she was just like, oh, no. And I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know if it's like the responsibility. I don't know if it's like having too many duties or if she's like, I don't know what she's afraid of. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want to learn more about it too, because it seems like it's a big part of who she is.
Yeah.
The one episode that we get where she gets promoted to lieutenant or whatever, she's clearly bored with the administrative side, but
right.
Ramsey's kicking ass. Like, she's doing all kinds of cool stuff. So you think that like Mariner would be like, yeah, I'd consider it.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe you need to do some of the boring stuff some of the time. Like, you need to have meetings.
No,
you need to,
check in.
Yeah, do administrative stuff. But then you get to explore space and do first contact and that sort of thing. So, yeah, trade-off.
Paperwork.
Yes.
I don't want to make a first contact. You know how much paperwork that is? Boimler's
Second contact.
second. Yeah, that's right.
That's
third is, oh boy, that's
Third?
the worst. Boimler's technically got a big part of this, but he is kind of a passive participant in most of his storyline in this episode. We kind of talked about Division 14 before. Do you guys want to go back into that a little? Like, what do you think about? You want to see more Division 14 in the future?
Yeah, I don't know that. Honestly, if it had been like, I mean, it would have been darker. But if it had been like shady and like, what is Star Trek doing with these people that have had these horrible accidents? Like, that would have been more intriguing. And like, why is supposedly a good, quote unquote, good, organization that looks out for human rights and, well, not just human rights, but just like,
you want to know something? Everyone's human.
Right. but people's rights, like different aliens, everybody's rights, and tries to consider that, like, what are they doing? There might have been some meat there.
Yeah, but what you're describing a weekly sci-fi show, and this is a weekly comedy show.
I know, right?
That keeps wanting to be a weekly sci-fi show. I can't figure it out. I still don't think that they're Van Damme splitzing both cars quite enough. I really do like some of the premises and the sci-fi plots they go on, but then they have to try to. So yeah, it reminds me of a character. Remember the character from the Venture Brothers, R.I.P. That was like Henry Killinger, and he's got his magic murder bag, and he basically comes in and he seems really scary, but like he's a benevolent force and he helps the Monarch get Dr. Girlfriend back and all this.
Gosh, I don't remember this.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm pretty sure it happened. It might have been a fever dream. He's funny in small doses, and I think like you could push Division 14 forward as the really creepy division of Starfleet that, oh no, it's all innocent. You know what I mean? It just becomes innocent every time, and that's kind of the joke. But I don't know how much you could do that. But I mean, there's only 10 episodes of this and 10 episodes of the next season, so I'd like to see them again and have it be another thing where it's like, oh no, we got to stop them. It's like, we made ice cream for everybody. Oh, it's homemade ice cream. Check it out. Just something innocuous like that.
Yeah, that would be great.
I'm looking over my notes here. What about you guys? Anything else that you wanted to cover before we move on?
I don't think so. I don't know. I had a good time.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else either.
Well, you were supposed to say something so I could take time to read my notes, but I'll just say that I did.
I'll take Mike, you better
Let the awkward silence happen. Dead air.
The show is so dense every frame. No, like the show really visually is a treat, and there's a lot there. But I wish that it would not worry about that so much. Well, let me tell you what I mean. I really liked the away team or bridge crew or whoever they were from the Rubidoux or Rubidoux. But they only got we never got to learn anything about them. You know, the Vulcan character was kind of snippy. That's pretty typical for Vulcans. A Rigelian, I don't think we've really done much with them. But they were just sort of if they were just they could have been from any ship or they could have been from this ship. I wish the show would slow down and let us learn about these characters more. But then, I don't know, maybe there wouldn't be time for jokes.
Well, you could have them say jokes.
Do it, cowards. Make this a drama.
Yeah. I don't know. Make the Rigelian funny. I don't know.
he's just
why not?
Hey, yeah. He's just making really bad jokes.
For a goofy Vulcan. Why
not?
Too far, just a weird stand-up humor Vulcan that's going too far the other way.
They'd have to, but of course,
would make anybody uncomfortable, but makes you even more uncomfortable because they're a Vulcan.
Yeah,
because it's a Vulcan, or they're goofy, but they still deliver it in that same tone of voice.
Yeah, but all his jokes would be about Cybok, though, so because of the references. So he's share my pain. I wouldn't share a bus bench with you, buddy. But that sort of thing. I think we probably did it. I think we got it all. We got it all in, so we will move on, and that is it for our show this week. Thanks for joining us, listeners. If you like what you hear, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at EISTPod for updates and to get notified when new episodes of both Enterprising Individuals and Discoverage are released. And you can tweet to us on the show by using the hashtag Discoverage, or you can email us at eistpod@gmail.com. Also, while you're on the internet, why not head to your listening platform of choice and subscribe to our show feed. Give us a rating and a review if you think of it, because it really does help us out. If you want to help the show grow, stop by our Patreon page at patreon.com/EISTpod. And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. Discoverage will return on September 24th for the 8th episode of Season 1 of Lower Decks, entitled... we don't know what the title is, so we'll have to just anticipate what it is, but we'll be back next Thursday to cover it. We'll be going live once again at 7 p.m. Central, so join us then. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook at EISTPod to get notified when we're going live and we're broadcasting. In the meantime, you can check out our main show, Enterprising Individuals, at enterprisingindividuals.com. Every Wednesday on the show, I and a special guest discuss in excruciating detail a selected episode from a Star Trek series. We also have news from the Trek sphere and interviews with special guests. Our latest episode just dropped, and on it I'm joined by Mikan Hana for an in-depth look at recent Trek news, including that story about Star Trek 4, and we kind of run off the rails a little bit. There might have been... There might have been a generic Batman character named Taco Guy involved.
There might have been.
And some legal trouble with Warner Brothers. But yeah, you can check that out at enterprisingindividuals.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Mika, it's always great to have you. Thanks for being on the show. And where can people find you
Thanks
online?
for having me. Yeah, you can find me at justenoughtrope.com or at Mikan Hana.
On Twitter.
On Twitter. Yes, I guess I need to say the last part of that, huh?
And noob_sailor is where people can find Sailor Noob.
Yes.
Sailor, on Twitter if they want to. And Ella.
Twitter and Instagram, yep.
Thanks as always for joining me, Ella, to talk about tonight's episode. Remind people where they can find you online.
Thank you. My home podcast is Generations Geek, and we are at Generations Geek, wherever you listen to podcasts and on social media. And we're actually newly on Amazon. Amazon has podcasts up now, so you can listen to us there. And actually, we should be on Audible pretty soon, too.
Nice.
Very nice.
So go there, check out the show, give them a rating and a review as well. And that's it for us for this week. Thanks for listening. We are signing off. This is Aaron for Ella and Mika saying live long and prosper.